is Tony Lelly along with Dan Vogel from Ohio Valley Sports Online, your Ohio Valley Sports Authority, with your November 14th before coaching show remote edition. Today we are speaking with Keith Lepler, the head football coach of the West Holmes High School Knights out of Millersburg, Ohio. Coach Lepler is in his first year as the head coach of his alma mater. The 13-seed Knights take on the number one seeded and seeded Red Devils from St. Clairsville, Ohio, in the Region 4 semifinal. This game will be played at New Philadelphia's Woody Hayes Stadium this Friday at 7 p.m. and will be streamed live as an audio-only broadcast right here at OhioValleySportsOnline.com. You can also catch it on our Facebook and YouTube channel. The Knights finished the regular season with a 5-5 record. They continued into this week's third round of the playoffs by upsetting a number 4 seeded Unito High School Tanks out of Chillicothe, 28-21, and then the number 12 Pod from East Liverpool, 24-13. Coach Lepler, thanks for talking with me today. Congratulations on your successful year.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on to talk about our team a little bit.
Very good, Coach. So, Coach, first year back, alma mater. You know, I read that you had a very successful high school career there. So, tell me a little bit about your coaching experience leading up to the year.
Yeah. So, definitely had a great experience here. Alumni, family tree goes all the way back here. We're pretty rooted in the community. Had some real success here in high school, making it to regional semis back when it was 8 teams. At that point, it was the farthest school had ever gone. Left, went and played 4 years at Ohio Wesleyan University in Delaware. And then right out of school, I started coaching for Ed Honebarger at Danville High School, coached there for 2 years. And then I went to Worcester High School, which is in the same conference as West Holmes. So went there for 2 years with Doug Haas, and then spent the next 3 years as defense coordinator with Austin Holder. So then, the job opened up, took a chance on myself, realized, had young kids. It was time to get back home, give it a shot here. I was blessed enough, had enough support from, my wife, my 2 very young kids, to go ahead and come back home and, lead this program.
So were you able to live in the same place and coach all them places?
Yeah. So Danville I actually live right across from the high school. So I got about a 30-second drive. Practice every day. So I've lived there for the past 5 years. So I've done the commuting, for the 7 years that, 7 years that I was coaching elsewhere. But yeah, I've been in the same location. I've been away, but I haven't been away. Within the back of my mind saying, we're going to find the right time, to come back home and lead this program and continue the tradition and the great community that we have here.
Very good. So you've always had your eye on this prize, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a dream, when I made the choice that, I wanted to get into education and I wanted to coach football after my college career ended. This was always the ideal landing spot, the dream. This is where I want to be. This is where I'm going to be as long as they'll have me. So, very, very blessed, very fortunate, and absolutely, fell back in love with this place this year.
So, okay, so hometown hero returns, right? And I'm sure you were well received. You played, you were good into school, and who you were. And so tell me a little bit about, though, the challenges that you faced, kind of putting your stamp on a very successful program.
Yeah, so I think, the biggest challenge of it, let's go with the easy part. The easy part is, you know people,
right.
one of the hardest things in coaching is to assemble a good staff. Well, fortunately for me, I knew all the guys that, were on the previous staff. I knew guys that I played with, guys that were in the community. So, those connections were great. And the connections that I have, when it comes to fundraising and all the other administrative tasks, has been a very easy, smooth transition.
So
Um,
the staff was so when the head coach left, the staff didn't leave.
No, no. So, so there's some guys that ended up leaving. There's some guys that took other jobs. But there's a core group of them, that I met with individually after I got the job, talked to them what they wanted to do, what their thoughts were. One of my assistants, he coached me when I was in high school. So, and then there's another one that I played with. And then there's another one that, I knew the family. There's another one that's one of my best friends that I got to come coach with me. And then there's two of them that I didn't necessarily know very well, but that were on the previous staff that stayed with me. So, we didn't want to completely, restart. Had some great conversations with these guys. I've been absolutely, my expectations for this staff have been, blown through the roof with how great these guys are doing. Helping me adjust to the first year in the role, and just how much they care for not only our kids but how much they care for West Holmes football. So, honestly, that's probably the easiest thing.
Right.
Now into the challenges, right?
Oh,
It's not one of those situations where, you walk in the door and you're taking over an 0-10 program where you're like, okay, we got to build this thing from the ground up.
right,
Uh, this is walking into a program that for the last, really 4 years has had extreme success. Uh,
right.
so, and honestly, walking into that job and putting your stamp on it, in my opinion, is harder than going into a rebuilding program. So some of the challenges is we've traditionally we've been a big offensive team, putting up tons and tons and tons of points and just really outscoring everybody with the supreme talent we had on offense. And you'll find out that my background is defense. I was a linebacker all the way up through. I played linebacker in college. Most of my coaching experience has been on the defensive side of the ball. So obviously, I came in and wanted to put a focus on defense. That it's important. We have to be able to stop people. We have to be able to take the ball away. We have to be opportunistic. We have to bend, not break, in
I,
order to kind of
I,
win the big game. Right? To win the big game, sure you can score a lot of points, but at some point you're not going to be able to, and you got to stop somebody. So that was the first thing, and that was I wouldn't say that's the biggest challenge. I mean, obviously the biggest challenge is coming in and putting your stamp on it offensively. They're used to 70-point games. They're used to a very high flying spread offense. We've came in and I like to call ourselves a power spread. Changing up the run game a little bit. But the biggest challenge is what do you keep? What do you keep around schematically? What are some things? Identify your players. What are some things that we can add in, to really enhance the talent in the players that we have? So, that's a challenge. And then obviously the challenge is a first year. It's a first year under this program of this staff as a whole. And we had some challenges. We three of our five losses were less than 10 points. And a lot of those came down to the very, very end of the game. So, at first, you're looking at it and it's, we didn't know how to win those games yet. And to be quite honest, I didn't know how to win those games yet as a head coach. So I think the biggest challenge was being patient for those first, really it was really patient for 9 weeks. Once we hit week 10, we felt like we hit our stride a little bit. Then obviously the playoffs, but biggest challenge has just been, hey, listen, you guys are talented. We're figuring out this thing. We're figuring out this program.
mm,
Um, we're finding out what works, what doesn't work. And we've worked tirelessly, as a staff and as a team in general. We've had a lot of open and honest conversations, a lot of tough conversations about who we are and who we're not. And the patience is paid off because we're, once we hit week 10, we've played the best football that we've played all year, which has led into a week 11 win, which has led into a week 12 win. And then, to put yourself in a position where you're in the regional semifinals and you've carried on that tradition of, this is the fifth straight regional finals for our program. To carry on that tradition is worth all of the, the struggles and the second guessing and the long coaches meetings and the long player meetings. So it's all worth it to be at this point right now.
Very good, Coach. So yeah, good segue. So you're in a year, right? New, got 5-5, maybe slightly disappointing because of what you're used to, right? So what do you think? What are the turning the corner events? That you had. You can, with your staff. I think they're finally getting.
Yeah, I think it was. It started kind of the second half of our Week 10 game against Holy Name. First half we're up 21-10. We had a turnover very first play of the game. And went into halftime up 21-10. Still not feeling great about where we were at. But then, we came out in the second half. And our defense, which is just gradually improved all year. Defense came out and absolutely shut them down. Got a shutout in the second half, and offensively, we didn't turn the ball over. And that's kind of segued into, really, 2.5 games of pretty darn clean football with not turning the ball over. We're starting to take the ball away on defense, and really just a level of maturity of, beginning of the year, we were kind of bad things happen and you can kind of see the body language. You can kind of see the breath taken out of us.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, in that second half, I saw a team come out and start puffing their chest whenever, adverse situations came. And, at that point, it was like, okay, these guys, maybe we're starting to get it. The culture, the program starting to take its effect. We talk all the time about next play mentality, and really starting to see that. And I think that's been the difference because in football you're going to face adversity all of the time. It's how you respond to it. And for really the last 2.5 games, I've seen our guys, puff their chest a little bit and say, well, it's obviously not good what just happened, but we're going to do something to negate that. We're going to get a turnover. We're going to get a 3 and out. We're going to force a field goal if we're in a bad field position situation. And same thing offensively. You look at East Liverpool. We're down 6-3, and we're on the 2-yard line, and there's 3 seconds left, and you got a decision: do you kick it? Do you go for it? Okay, well, your entire offense comes over and says, "Hey, coach, let's punch it in." Okay, well, that's different from weeks 1 through 9. So to have that confidence, then second half they go down and they score and they take the lead. And what's our offense do? They turn around and put together a long drive, put the ball in the paint. All right, and then defense comes out, gets a stop. Then offense comes back out, hits a big 66-yard touchdown, and then there's your final score. So it's the response to adversity, and our buzzword's been valor, courage in the face of adversity. And I think the turning point is this team has bought into that, and this team is starting to mentally think that way. And then obviously their play is reflecting that right now.
Very good, Coach. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Friday. Obviously, you've embraced the role of the underdog. So you've had a week of film study on these guys. How much can you tell me about your preparation and your approach to preparing the team for this game?
Yeah, we've traveled a lot. We've played at 2 away stadiums. We've been the lower seed each time, maybe not necessarily, underdogs. We felt really good about matchups. I think this is our first matchup where it's like, okay, these guys are the underdog. It's 13 versus 1. Our preparation, obviously looking at St. Clairsville, I mean, them. Their number one thing is the physicality that jumps off on the tape. Physical up front, physical runners. On defense, their box is very, very physical. So physicality is the first thing that kind of jumped off the page for us. Obviously, you got to stop their run game. I mean, they do a really good job of eating clock and very methodical in their run game. And then their big play ability to break those plays on offense is something that we can't get lulled to sleep. We have to be alert every single play. And then looking at them defensively, they've done a good job of giving multiple looks, multiple coverage looks. So our preparation has been, hey, let's how can we identify, what covers they're going to be in, what are our schemes that we have in our arsenal to be able to attack those coverages. And then for us, it's everybody football. Football is about establishing the run game, and establishing the line of scrimmage. So the keys that we've talked about for our team is physicality. Got to be the more physical football team. Execution. You got to run the correct routes. You got to block the right guy. You got to take care of the football. Ball security means wins when it comes to playoff time. And then third is just that hunger, right? Because it's win or go home. So, whoever's going to be the most physical, whoever executes the best, and and if both those things are even, hey, who really wants it more? Obviously, coaches are going to say this about their team, but this team has grown leaps and bounds, and this team is hungry. There's a lot of people that doubted them. There's a lot of people that didn't think they could do it. There's a lot of people that think, we're not legit. We're not the real deal. We got a great draw. But these kids are hungry to prove people wrong and to continue the tradition of being, a top tier team in Division IV.
Yeah, very good. Very good, Coach. Well, Coach, listen, I really appreciate you hanging out with me today and things that you said. Really looking forward to I'll be Friday night. I'll come down and say hello, check on rosters and stuff before the game and face to face. Looking forward to a great game.
All right. Well, I appreciate you having me on. I always take the opportunity to talk about our kids.
Very good. So again, everyone, I wanted to remind you that you can listen to this game broadcast live right here, as it will be audio only broadcast on highvalleysports.com. You can also catch it on our Facebook and YouTube channels. That's High Valley Sports Online Sports Authority for high school sports in the Ohio Valley. See you Friday, Coach.
All right. See you. Thank you.